said goodnight, LA. 'Cause I'm awake in my room. I've been up for 38 hours, and it don't look like sleep coming soon. I could break like a bird, or I could swallow the sea. It seems like...
Hey everybody!
Hi!
Welcome back to our channel. We are live in Columbus, Ohio. This is the post-rally stream where we get to sit and talk to y'all about every little detail from today, what we've learned, what we saw, some behind the scenes VIP access knowledge, and it's just a lot of fun. It's a much more relaxed environment. And you guys are probably going to be loving this flag, so let me explain it before I give the mic to my coworkers. One of our front row Joes, Randall, wanted to give RSBN a donation today, and we love it, and his donation was a bunch of flags. I mean a bunch. And it was his idea to just get it signed, so he laid it out on a table for us, put some Sharpies down, did his thing, and we went off and worked for the rest of the rally. And it was actually me and Alyssa who were able to go back and pick it up before running in, and we were amazed. There was a line of people just waiting to sign this flag. I don't know if they knew exactly who they were signing it for, but at the end of the day, it's our flag, and it's amazing. Truly a piece of history. So we're really proud of it, so thank you so much, Randall. This is absolutely beautiful. Alyssa?
Yes, it's covered in signatures. It was so much fun earlier. Maybe you saw our tweet just as people were signing it, and it was really great to see the support from Randall. Tom, hopefully you're watching this, but he was just chanting RSBN, RSBN, RSBN.
Number one fan.
Yeah, and he was really getting the crowd hyped up, and yeah, it was so much fun. And then at the end of the night, he also had us help him take down a couple more flags.
He did.
That he had hung up at the very top of the flagpole
And
at the high school.
we have that one as well. We're thinking about maybe auctioning off a second one that we have. It's blank, but it was actually the Trump flag that Randall himself, not necessarily with permission, but he hooked up to the flagpole at the school when he got there last night when nobody was there. So it was flying high, and we also have the American flag that he put up that it was flying with. So we have both of those. Let us know if you think we should auction them off. This one, however, is going to Joe. And another thought we have is that Randall also donated a bunch of other plain versions of these, and I'm thinking we get them signed at every rally. And then maybe we do something with it. If you have any ideas, put them in the chat. Tom,
Pretty
Max,
cool.
what do you think about everything?
Randall, he's a great supporter. We love seeing him at the rallies. He's always encouraging us, always promoting RSBN at the rallies, telling, he's going through the line telling everybody about RSBN and how great, everybody should tune in, subscribe on their phones, click on the bell. So Randall, he's just one of our biggest cheerleaders. And, Randall's a Marine. He served our country, and, he's a veteran, and he's a warrior. I mean, he shows up at these rallies, all the front row Joes. Cindy Hoffman's one of our, our mods. She's a front row Joe. And they are so encouraging because, these rallies, it's a lot of work and it takes a lot of energy, and we feed off of each other's dragon energy, so to speak. So it's great to see that. Randall's, it's always great to see Randall, and he truly loves our country and truly supports our president, and he's there all the time, and he'll do anything for anybody. He'll take the shirt off. He'll take the Trump shirt off of his back,
He really
to help
would.
somebody.
I was holding the camera today to give our cameraman a break, and like a water bottle opened up and just like appeared, like pouring into my mouth, and I really had no idea. Like, I was kind of freaked out at first, and I looked to my right because my eyes were like stuck in a lens, and it was Randall just pouring cold water into my mouth. I mean, he would do anything for any of us. It's pure love.
What'd you think? Your second rally, Max? What'd you think, buddy?
It was good. It was a lot of fun. We talked a little bit about it last night, a little bit at the beginning, just about how high school gym, much different than a huge expo center at the Florida State Fairgrounds for me. Much smaller, very different experience for sure. Really enjoyed it. got to meet a lot of cool people, and we did have our technical difficulties, which limited some of our conversations. We still had the conversations; they just weren't on air. But it was pretty cool. Got to meet Jim Rossini.
Renacci.
Renacci,
Yeah,
there we
Renacci.
go. I'm messing up all the names today, guys. Renacci, the Senate candidate going up against the Democratic senator for the actual election in November. That was pretty cool, and so it was a good day. Really enjoyed my second rally. A little bit hotter, not too bad. Nothing I haven't done before, but definitely different than Tampa.
Yeah, Max and Alyssa, they're lining up interviews for the, they could do when they're back in the studio. They're lining up all these interviews that are going to be shown here on Right Side in the future. So stay tuned. Alyssa did a great interview with the candidate from Florida, I believe, or Virginia.
Jeff Dove.
Jeff Dove. Oh boy, that was a great interview. I really enjoyed that, and just seeing the candidates, help her promote the candidates, and it's a great thing.
Time out. Me and Alyssa, I think, have one of our favorite donations ever. Safe to say.
Yes.
So thank you, Daniel Davis,
Thank
again,
you.
because you've donated before, for your $50 donation, saying Liz and Alyssa are the prettiest newswomen in the world.
Thank you, Daniel.
That's so sweet.
Their heads weren't already big enough. A lot worse for the flight tomorrow. Thanks, Daniel.
Thanks, Daniel.
It gives me ammunition to use against Max when he makes fun of us.
She really needs it too. She's been reusing content all day. She needs help. So thanks for that. Actually, it makes it a lot more fun for her.
That's so sweet.
And we also received $1.99 from Mashi Banda, who said what happened with the video today. We kind of talked about that earlier and apologized to you guys profusely, and we will continue to. But we just had issues with our live view, but we will be getting a new one next week, so stay tuned.
Joe, so with the live views, they're unbelievably expensive. We've talked about it before, but they're roughly $30,000 for a little modem that bands cell phone towers together. That's going to be allowing us to connect to our camera and put out a bigger bandwidth that can hold a live stream. So, we've bought that, and it was supposed to fix all of our problems. We really invested into that, and just so far it hasn't. So we have really just not given up on it. Joe has not given up on it. He's called them. I mean, just no telling how many hours he spent on the phone saying this isn't right. They'll argue and say, oh, there's nothing we can do. You're just in a bad area. But the other reporters there with live view units, their units are working the entire time, and it's just ours. We joke that it's possessed. But so Joe's working on that. They're gonna send us another one. Hopefully that fixes the problem. If not, we're gonna fix it. It's just a matter of trial and error with these.
Yeah, I think we're really close. I think we've had a new set of eyes look at some of the problems, the same problems we've been having, and I think we finally found the solution. We're not giving up, and that's the thing. When you give up, you're not going to find the solution, or it'll never find it. And it's a lesson to learn in life. Don't give up. Keep searching. Ask for help. Ask for advice. Don't be afraid to ask. Just don't be afraid to ask questions. And that's what we're doing. We're trying everything. And I think our persistency and our, just not giving up is really coming, it's really allowing us to finally find the solution. So I promise you that we're really, really close, and that it's going to be better than ever. And thank you for your loyalty, for sticking around, because when we do, when we get this done, when we get this right and everything's fixed, there's going to be so many people coming back to Right Side, but we'll remember you. The ones that are loyal, that have been with us all this time, we don't forget you. And the ones that, donate monthly and are always donating, we don't forget who you are. We really appreciate it. And like I said, people like Randall, Tom, the Front Row Joes, people like you, the regulars in the chat room, your encouragement means so much to us, because this takes up a lot of energy, a lot of, this is dedication and sacrifice. And we truly love, President Trump. We truly love making America great again. We truly love this movement Personally, for me, I know in the campaigns I've worked at, we've been waiting for this since, the 2008 campaign when John McCain ran, the 2012 campaign when Mitt Romney ran for president. We've been waiting for somebody to fight for us. President Trump is finally doing that, and the people are responding. They're ready to fight with him, and we see that at the rallies. People, they sat in this high school auditorium. President Trump said, although it's 110 degrees in here, you're not giving up, I'm not giving up, he's going to keep fighting with us. So the gymnasium was very warm in there today for I don't know what reason, and but there's always those forces going against going against us, and but we're not giving up, and it's just a wonderful thing. And I guarantee you, when we win on election night this year in 2018, winning cures everything. So all the aches and pains that we go through right now, it's all going to be worth it when we win in November.
Yeah, and I think with the energy and with the passion that you're seeing at these rallies, it really looks like that blue wave might not be as strong as they're saying it is. And Kayleigh McEnany, if you guys are familiar with her, she's the spokesperson for the GOP. She doesn't say red wave like Trump did tonight. She calls it a red tsunami. And I really think that the right should kind of coin that and take that, because that's a lot stronger than a blue wave for sure. And
No, you don't want to get hit by a tsunami.
Yeah, that's confidence, I'll tell you.
And so I think that that's something that we should really hope for.
How do you spell tsunami? Because if they do the hashtag red tsunami, that means you got to know how to spell it.
You got it's a TSUNAMAI.
Okay.
Tsunami.
TSUNAMI.
Did I say AI? I meant to say just I, but yeah, essentially it's the same thing. It's essentially the same thing, guys. It's been a long day.
Thank God for spell check.
Learn.
You're right, I will. It's good. That's why I'm in college, right? But yeah, so I think that you're going to see a lot more of I think you'll see more energy than typical midterms. This is definitely not the same political climate it was 4 years ago in those last midterms right before Obama left. And I really do believe that with Trump's determination to make these midterms different, I think you'll see that. I really hope you see that too, because it'll be much more entertaining. It'll be much more influential than in the past. I mean, you have really low voter turnout in those midterms. It's pretty obvious to think and assume, but the numbers really show some low turnout for those. And let's hope that changes with a Trump presidency.
Another note for those asking about what happened today, because you've been with us on other rallies and the stream might bop down for a few seconds. This one was a bit more severe. But for those of you like Max who are fresh out of high school, you probably remember that high schools are actually built to block cell towers. So they've got cement walls and metal roofs. So it's really difficult. So having all of the technology in the gymnasium today really messed up the feed.
Yeah.
Speaking of,
I wanted to,
I'm just messing with Max, by the way. We know he's in college. I think it's like an Auburn rivalry thing.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Alyssa?
Yeah, thanks. I wanted to go through some notes I have from today, and I know
You
Max,
give me
I
back
saw
good,
you
I know.
taking some as well.
Not as comprehensive as hers, but I took some.
So first we heard from Jane Timken, who's the chair of the Ohio Republican Party, and she talked about how the economy is booming right now with a 4.1 GDP growth rate, as you all know. And then we heard from Larry Alhoff, leader of Ohio Senate. He talked about how he was supporting Troy Balderson, and he talked about two different paths, the Democratic path and the Republican path, and he said the new path by Donald Trump has lower taxes and protects your constitutional rights. And he said we have a new record of Americans employed at 156 million people, and trade negotiations putting American workers first. And he said policies matter, who you elect matters. And then we heard from former state senator Joy Pagel, and everyone was very excited to hear from her. And she was the chair for Ohio Women for Trump, and she said this was the crowning achievement in her political career. And she also supported Troy Balderson and talked about how he believes in the sanctity of life and the right to bear arms. And then, of course, we heard for President Trump, and he reminisced on winning Ohio and was told it was going to be close, but he won it in the end. And then he introduced Jim Jordan for a minute, who's running for Speaker of the House, as you know. And he talked about President Trump's accomplishments in the last 18 months. And there was a moment we weren't able to catch it on camera for you. It was when Tom and I were wondering what all the cheering was and if it was a protester or what. But it was actually Jim Jordan, right,
Yep.
in the top of the stage.
Jordan showed up unannounced at the rally today. Even Trump from the stage said that he didn't know Jim would be there. Jim Jordan walked up through the crowd and started walking up the steps of the bleachers to go. He must have had a personal relationship with one of these people at the top. He went straight to the top and hugged and had a short conversation with a woman up there. And I think people started to clap over on that side when they all saw who it was. And more as people started recognizing, hey, that's Jim Jordan, then it kind of erupted. So yeah, Alyssa and Tom actually missed out on that. They were doing a hit during that. And Liz and I were able to watch that whole thing unfold. That was at about 6:50, so it was about a little 10-15 minutes before Trump actually took the stage. And Speaker of the House chants broke out for a few seconds, especially during their hit, but a little bit after that. And then while he was actually taking pictures with supporters on his way down from the bleachers as well. So Jim Jordan definitely embraced a very welcoming crowd tonight. As Alyssa mentioned, and I'm going to kind of highlight, he is running for Speaker of the House after Paul Ryan finishes his term. So that's a very influential seat in Congress and the House of Representatives. And so Jim Jordan got a lot of love from Ohio today.
You know what's impressive is, he won't say it, but he was able, out of everyone, to identify him from across the room. Like, do you have good vision?
I do.
I couldn't even see the guy. It just looked like a blur, but he could see him, identify him, knew everything about him. And before the crowd was even chanting Speaker of the House, Max was saying, that's the future Speaker of the House. I was pretty impressed.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, Jim Jordan has a very, kind of a typical build and a typical look, but it was kind of like it was just kind of connected all the pieces together. He's got that, he's a former wrestler in high school and college, so he kind of had that build. I recognized the gray hair, and I was in Ohio. What else? How do you not get to Jim Jordan from there?
Amazing.
There are not many politicians in Ohio that would get that reception before the President of the United States was about to speak. I mean, it takes a very unique and influential person to elicit that kind of response. So that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Jim Jordan's been blowing up on Twitter. I mean, the response for him, the criticism on both sides, it's coming from both sides. So, but he has a lot of support on Twitter for Speaker. The Speaker of the House, he has to get elected by his peers. So that'll be at the beginning of the term in 2019 after the election. So the election for Speaker will be somewhere in, I think, in January of 2019. So after the new Congress, is seated. So, he's got to win his, in his district is pretty safe. Most of the districts, in Ohio, they lean Republican. So, but this election on Tuesday for Troy Balderson, and we got a chance to, speak with him very briefly.
You did, Tom. Tell us
I appreciate
about
your
that.
help, Liz.
I'll get aggressive for you anytime.
And Alyssa, they were telling me to get aggressive, and but it just kind of like we just kind of our paths crossed, and the timing was right, and I was able to ask him a question. The first question I thought of off the top of my head was, well, Mr. Balderson, are you going to speak before President Trump? Are you going to be one of the opening speakers, or is President Trump going to introduce you during his speech? And he just kind of thought about it for a second, and I don't think he was expecting that question. And he said, well, he gave a great answer. He said, well, what's the difference? President Trump is here. He's here to give a personal endorsement, and look at the lines, the lines of people are here. He's here. Who cares when, And I was just laughing. I was like, yeah, but I was just breaking the ice, and so it was kind of funny. And it was a great answer. I really appreciated that because it was just like, I just wanted to know personally, like, when are you going to speak? Is it, we want you to speak. So hopefully he wins this Tuesday, and the momentum was there today. I think, like I always say, the rallies that people go home and tell their families and friends about the rally today, and hopefully, they'll tell all their friends and family here in Ohio to vote for Troy Balderson, and that, this blue wave, the Democrats think that starting here in Ohio, they wish and hope and dream that it happens. All those dreams are going to be deflated on Tuesday night. We hope and pray, but Troy Balderson, I know, is doing everything that he can because all politics is local. Knocking on doors and has volunteers making phone calls and sending out literature, doing everything he can, and that's all you could do. Is I always, as a campaign manager, I'll tell candidates, if you're running for office, you want to run for office as if you were to lose the election by 5 votes or 50 votes, if the election is close and you lose by 5 or 50 votes, something like that, you won't have any regrets because you've done it all. So that's how you campaign. You do it all, and if you lose by a few votes, it'll be okay. And it normally isn't okay, but that's the idea. You want to run scared, lay it all out there, lay it all on the line. That's what President Trump is doing. He's laying it all out there for the candidates, using his platform, his soapbox, so to speak, to help these candidates because he needs help making America great again. He needs the votes, especially in the United States Senate. It's a 50-50 split.
Thank you.
Yeah, Balderson did a great job on stage too. He was very well spoken. There was a couple of moments here and there where I think the moment really hit him, like the president just endorsed me. He's standing there next to me. There were a couple of times he tripped up, and who wouldn't do that in that moment? But other than that, he was very good. I think the moment that stood out to me the most, it didn't really seem scripted. It kind of did feel very genuine. Politicians are pretty good at playing that, but I did really feel like that wasn't a fake, that wasn't really a show. The first thing Balderson said, and Alyssa would be able to back me up on this in her notes, the first thing he did was wish happy birthday to the U.S. Coast Guard.
Yes,
it
228 years, right?
And that's today. And so I saw that on Twitter this morning and really thought not a whole lot of it. Trump retweeted that link, or retweeted that tweet this morning, you probably saw it, but to be able to kind of mention that, throw that in there, and make sure you threw in a actual hey, let's take a moment for applause for other people who served in the Coast Guard. I think a lot of us kind of blow over the Coast Guard when we think military. It's kind of an easy one to kind of blow over, and I don't mean to belittle anyone's Coast Guard service at all. And I think that Balderson's recognition of that to start was really impressive. And to piggyback on that solid moment on stage, Jim Jordan was also very good off his feet.
He was excellent.
Jim Jordan just really kind of did a great brief summary of the accomplishments in I wouldn't even call that 30 seconds.
No.
And I think he was surprised by Trump calling him up. Trump mentioned, he's like, I didn't even know you were going to be here. Then waved him on. They hugged right before Jordan got to the podium, and then Trump stepped to the side and pointed over, and I don't think Jordan expected that at all, and was very good off his feet, rattling off the things he wanted the crowd to remember, the things he wanted the crowd to think about, and then just did a nice handshake and walked off. I was very impressed with all the people on stage today. It was a good showing, and DeWine, the candidate for governor, and Renee, cool. I'm double checking with our local here on these names. They both got endorsements from the stage as well. Now Renee was called up really, really briefly, just a quick handshake and a quick moment of let's get Jim in the Senate. But it wasn't as he didn't speak or anything like that. So a lot of guys got some endorsements tonight.
And Max is lining up an interview with Jim Renacci, Congressman, who's running for U.S. Senate here in Ohio. And I'm telling you, that's going to be a great interview. I'm looking forward to it. Jim Renacci is a world-class guy. I can't say enough about him. He deserves to win. We need to upgrade our representation in the seat. And I hope and pray that he wins, and that's great that Max is going to get an opportunity to interview him, because it's just he needs to get his message out to anybody and everybody, and this is great. So I thank you for doing that.
I was able to briefly meet with him. We had an opportunity to actually interview him while our live view was down, which was extremely frustrating because I got really excited. And I was able to quickly meet with him, and we tried to get some time towards the end, unfortunately, or fortunately for him at least. He was able to secure some time with the president before the president went wheels up after the rally. So he definitely wasn't as interested to talk to us after the rally. But yeah, we're hoping to set that up pretty soon, and we're gonna contact his campaign a little bit more intentionally over the coming days, and hopefully set that up. I'm excited. He was a very nice guy. Seemed pretty down to earth, a lot like Balderson. So that's actually the one thing I will say about Ohio. These Ohioans are pretty down to earth people, very honest, very very just natural, very genuine. It was impressive. It was not impressive. It was surprising. Not saying I thought they were all going to be different, but it was kind of just refreshing, I guess, coming from Atlanta, coming from Tampa. It's definitely been a very different character to the people out there today.
Thank you very much.
I wanted to
OHIO.
take a quick moment to remind everybody that we'll be giving away 3 prize packages tonight here on the stream. And it's not too late to enter, so any $25 donation is going to be 1 additional entry. If you still want to sign up, go to rsbnetwork.com/enter. And if you'd like to make a last-minute donation and get your name in the drawing a couple more times, just go ahead and send those in. What do you say, Alyssa? 5 minutes?
Yeah, let's give it about 5 minutes, and then we'll start the drawing.
So before we get to that drawing, though, I did want to shout out a donation we kind of blew over just because we were talking about the endorsements tonight.
Go for it.
Richard Head, $5 through YouTube Super Chat. Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Richard writes, "Hey YouTube, I'm sending a donation despite the black screen. You can't stop RSBN."
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate that. We know how frustrating that was last night. It's come up a couple times tonight. Annoyingly, we appreciate the support despite those struggles, despite those obstacles that keep put in our way. So we really appreciate that help. And I wanted to give you that shout out because I think that's something that can be discouraging for us when we're out there and what we're doing. We kind of just it's hard, when you kind of get things thrown at you constantly and you can't really push through them as much as you'd like to. You kind of feel like, hey, the support might die down a little bit because of this, but that's not true at all with you guys, and honestly, constantly blown away by the support, and we really appreciate that a lot.
Definitely, and thank you so much, Max. And I wanted to go into a couple more things the president said today. So he said that a vote for Troy's opponent, meaning Troy Balderson, is a vote for borders and massive crime. And he talked about chain migration and how one man, and I believe this was the same guy, a murderer that he talked about the other night in Wilkes-Barre, Barry. He said brought 22 family members with him, and now they're in our justice system. And he said we're going to make our country so much richer than it's ever been. And he said that I'm a reciprocal trader, and he always says reciprocal is his favorite word. He said if they do it, we do it. And he shared a statistic he has shared before that when we actually send a car to China, they charge us with a 25% tax, and we only charge them with a 2.5% tax when they send to us. So that's just absolutely insane. And he said the Chinese market is down 27% in the last few months. And he said China's taken $5 billion from us a year. For the last few years, we rebuilt China, but we need to rebuild America. And he said that more Americans are employed than ever before in our nation's history. And then he talked about the car plants moving to Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, South Carolina, North Carolina. And he gave some updates, some statistics as well, that there are 40,000 manufacturing jobs available as of July. And he talked about how Hispanic unemployment is at its lowest, along with African American unemployment, Asian, and he said that women's unemployment is at the lowest level in 65 years.
So that was a lot of the economic stuff that he talked about, which we really saw coming. I mean, you're in the Rust Belt, you're in where economics is the number one. And we saw a lot of Florida. He talked heavy on immigration. You know, economics is important there, but the immigration hits really hard down there. That doesn't need to be explained to anybody, if we're being honest. But I think that something that really shocked me was he talked a lot, and more specifically about immigration tonight, than he did in Florida. And that seemed out of, I don't know if I want to say out of design, but it was interesting to me just because you would think in a place like Ohio, I'm not saying it doesn't get affected, every state gets infected by illegal immigration, but you'd think you'd go into more specifics in Florida or Arizona and into more broader terms when you're in the Midwest. And it seemed to be the opposite. He told the story of chain migration, and with a man who had murdered, I believe, 8 and 22 people came in due to his immigration status. He talked a lot about wanting to go against catch and release, go against chain migration. Direct quote, ICE is fantastic for this country. So I think that there was more of a focus on immigration than I was really anticipating, or at least more of a focus that I really, I think I appreciated just because it seemed surprising, but it seemed necessary.
Well, we've had a lot of problems with drugs and overdoses in Ohio, and you know, a lot of the drugs are coming from the South. They're crossing the border illegally. You know, they're illegal drugs and brought in by illegals, gangs, MS-13, and a lot of times they're transporting drugs not on the major highways. You would think the drugs are coming up through the freeways or the interstates. They're not. They're coming up through state routes, and they're coming up through winding roads, back roads. So we've had problems with that here in Ohio, in the small towns, big drug busts, big gang-related murders, and that are unsolved because everybody knows that it's because of MS-13. You know, so it's a problem nationwide. It's a problem that's kind of scattered nationwide in different small towns throughout the country. But it's a problem that, you know, it's affecting our country as a whole. It's affecting small town America, and you know, people have had enough. They've had enough of it, and we have to secure our borders. We have a right to do that as a sovereign country. Other countries do it. So we have a right to do it. But the people have to rise up and, you know, elect a leader, which we've done, Donald J. Trump. And then, you know, I guess it's not enough just to call your congressman. It's not enough to, you know, we have to elect the leaders that really want to take action. And that's the whole idea of doing these rallies, is President Trump is introducing to the public. First of all, he's taking it directly to the people, introducing the public the candidates that he would want to get elected so he can implement the policies that we elected him to do. So he needs help. And we're not giving up. We're going to be right there with him. We're following him, and we're going everywhere he's going. And the people are right there too, wanting to fight with him. So it's a wonderful thing. We need to keep the momentum going. And I'm sure we're going to have a few days rest here, which we need because this is our third rally in 1 week. But it's been a great experience.
My dragon energy is failing me. But I wanted to take a quick second and say thank you again, to Daniel Davis. You're a rock star.
Thank you, Daniel.
Definitely killing the donation game tonight. And we have officially added you 4 times into the drawing from your donations on this live chat. Stephen John Asante just donated $10 and said, ladies, talk more. Ladies, please. And you aren't reading our messages. Yes, we are. But we don't want to interrupt our really intelligent, politically activated coworkers. And there was another one. Rick Moore donated $20 and said, how much money did you young folks lose? Wow, that was bad. On this trip. And this fellow here is making joke. I'm going to ignore the rest just because. But, Rick, we probably lost. I'd have to talk to Joe for the specifics. But I would say around $3,000 on this trip is what we are negative for on this specific rally. based on what it costs to get us here, pay for the apartment, pay for the food, pay for the live view data, and
Yeah.
the
It's a lot.
equipment that we're about to replace. So yeah, we're just kind of transparent. This one was definitely a negative trip financial wise, but we still had a great time. We learned a lot, and that's what it's about. Like I said earlier, trial and error.
Yeah.
I want to say hello to Cassandra and Christine. Christine says, I wish I could donate tonight. Awesome team. Love you guys. So good to see you, Christine.
Who is going to start the official Tom O'Neill fan club? Because there's such a following there that's just honestly, it's insane, man. You gotta check that chat more because it's talking about where you're driving from, what are you gonna wear, talking about you in Waffle House.
Man, we went to White Castle.
That pre-stream that we had in Tampa, my first pre-stream, and you weren't there.
Oh, man, I'm
there
sorry.
was a plethora of messages that was like, "Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Tom's probably still driving. Where's Tom? Where's Tom? Is Tom gonna be there tomorrow? Where's Tom?" Dude, you got the phone.
Dude, you'll get there, Max. You'll get there, Max.
Do I sound jealous?
I'll help you. I'll help you.
Sound jealous. But I
Move to Ohio.
I don't
Transfer to Ohio State.
That
No,
doesn't seem worth it at all.
I'm just kidding.
So I think that's something we kind of talked about, or I want to talk about before we do the drawing real quick, squeeze in a super short conversation. So one of the interviews that I had right before we went inside, just while people were filing inside, I was speaking to this woman. You guys might have seen it, might remember her. She was in a sun hat, kind of blocking out, it was hot out. And she said something to me that kind of resonated because I don't think you think about it a lot, especially on these special elections when a member in that seat moved to a different position, got anointed to a different position. You don't really think about the vacancy in that seat, especially in a congressman. I think in the Senate, there's another senator covering. Covering. When it's a congressman, there's no junior congressman or even senior congressman to fill it in. There's no one sitting there actually in that federal position to kind of either take care of or legislate things. And she's like, I would have been able to get in touch with my congressman for the past few months, but I haven't been because no one's in the office anymore.
Wow.
And that was really that kind of was the first time that thought ever entered my mind, was like, well, what happens to these people who are not represented until the special election is done? And I think that was a very sobering moment.
Well, for example, if you have a son or a daughter that wants to go to the Naval Academy, you have to get a recommendation from your local congressman. And a lot of times, if your congressperson, congressman, congresswoman is not there, a lot of times they'll have to ask a neighboring representative, someone from another district close by you. And hopefully they're directed, if somebody makes a phone call or, asks a question, who could I talk to? Hopefully they're directed and, they're pointed in the right direction. So, but yeah, I mean, you make a great point there that when there is a vacancy, there is a void. So,
yeah. Is it taxation without representation? Because that's what she said, and that was an interesting point. I guess you're still being represented in the Senate. You're still being represented by your local government. I don't think that's completely true, but to an extent it is. I mean, you are supposed to be, and you are entitled to be represented to a person, or by a person who is legislating on your behalf at a certain level of government, at the federal level of government. And when you lose that person for a few months, that would be annoying and frustrating in my district, at least. I lived in Alabama shortly while Sessions, there was a vacancy.
Right.
And that wasn't too bad because you still have another senator, but that congressman is a very different situation.
And the congressman has a whole office. Like a congressman, they have money to hire a full-time staff in Washington, D.C. and in the home, their home district. Sometimes they'll have 1, 2, or 3 different offices. Depends how big their district is. Like in the state of Montana and the state of North Dakota, there's just one congressman, a congressman at large for the whole state. So you think they probably at least have 2, 3, maybe 4 offices, and they have to have somebody working at each of those offices, to answer the phone calls, to meet somebody halfway, have a meeting place if they want to, arrange a meeting with the Congress, with the representative. So yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of organization there, I should say, to represent the people.
Remember, special election in Ohio, August 7th, this Tuesday. Also check and make sure your primaries for certain seats, like in Missouri and Maine, are also on Tuesday, August 7th. So make sure, check with your state clerk. I think there might be a handful of other ones, but those are the main ones that come to mind for me. So please check that out. Your state might be having a primary or even a local city election this Tuesday, so look into that.
Wow.
While we're talking about the importance of being represented.
I want to say thank you to Low IQ Person for your donation, and that's not the one I read. It's gone now, but there was one that said
$5 from Jesus is Lord. Thank you so much for that.
saying
That they can't wait to see my show next week, and they like the little graphic in the corner that Joe made today. So thank you so much, Jesus is Lord, for that. I believe we also received $1 from CNN. So thank you, CNN. See, guys, even CNN supports us.
they owe us money for blocking our shot today. Stephen John Asante donated $5 and said, I'll donate $25 if you play my YouTube clip, Stephen John Asante falls off the golf cart. We'll have to run that by our boss, and stay tuned. And I believe Max will be reaching out to you for an interview sometime soon.
Yeah, we got to get things settled right now. Just like I know I've said this before, and I really wish I could do it now. I am battling. I am not battling. I'm dealing with 3 jobs, balancing all that, handling it, trying to figure out everything, how that lines up. But once I do, I promise I will reach out to you. However I can. We'll figure something out. I'm not saying that empty-heartedly. I've been doing this is my second rally, so let me get everything figured out timing-wise, and we'll be there on that. Are we ready to do drawing?
Yeah, I think we're ready to draw, so I wanted to explain this.
Yeah, I'll fold it up.
Do we still want them to be present in the chat one?
Yeah.
Okay, I think so too. So what we're doing now, what I was whispering to her is trying to see, because like we're always transparent about everything, just make sure we still wanted the rules to be that you have to be present in the chat to win, because last night we went to or 2 nights ago, we were up till almost like 2 a.m. because no one was in the chat. We kept naming everyone, but no one was there. So we have a new thing on the cell phone where we've inputted all the names, and now
It's randomize.com, random list picker. So I just click all the names are in. So I just click pick one, and then hopefully you guys will be in the chat. We'll also do a timer.
it's dead.
Or not.
I'll count.
But before we do that, I've been instructed by Joe to play the clip of Stephen John Asante falling off the golf cart. And so I'm pulling that up right now for you guys. I'm going to have to walk up.
Thank you, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
Let's acknowledge the beautifully folded flag, a man of many
Well, I
talents.
tried,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Max.
Max, and thank you for sharing that with us, Stephen. Definitely hard to watch. And now we're going to start our contest. So stay tuned. And there's that donation. Awesome. Thank you.
For those asking, Stephen
much.
John Asante was on my 600-pound life. He actually,
Steven?
why not? Thanks, Stephen. And, you know, I wish you the best and that you have a really good journey towards better health.
And Tom, if you wouldn't mind doing the timer
Sure.
for a minute on each name, I'm going to choose the first one right now. Okay, the Shocker. The Shocker is our first winner. So,
All right, the Shocker.
Okay.
if you are in the chat room, the Shocker, please claim your prize. Tell us that you're here. Jimmy Rance just asked, the Shocker won. So we're just waiting for him to claim his prize here in the chat room. Tom's got that timer going. So Tom just let us know when it's done.
Well, you can go ahead and draw another name, couldn't you? Because there's 3 winners, so.
Yeah.
Well, there's 20 seconds. Okay, the time is up.
Okay. And next one, Charles Peckmezian. What a fun last name, Charles Peckmezian.
Charles.
So I'm going to ask you guys a question because you keep asking me what it was like for me and all that kind of stuff. So you guys have been to a handful of rallies now. You a lot more than these 2, but still you guys have been to a few. What was it like to be in a venue that was roughly half of the size
Not my favorite.
of the other ones?
I don't know if it
You
was
wanna
the high
explain?
school. It was too small. It was so hot today. I mean, it literally was like being in a sauna. The Wi-Fi wasn't working, so we couldn't have our streams working. Like, no one can really hear me, but I prefer the auditoriums. And there's just thousands of Americans that want to see the president, and the campaign knows it. So why get a high school? Not only just a high school, but it was a small high school auditorium. So I don't understand that. I'm sure Secret Service has a reason, but didn't love it.
In Ohio, there's a lot of pushback from President Trump. Remember, John Kasich won Ohio in the primary in 2016. So, and there are a lot of, in our major cities in Ohio, all the mayors are Democrats. So there's a lot of pushback from President Trump. It's not as easy as it seems, even though, I mean, this school where we had the rally, the Trump campaign, they're paying a lot of money to the school district to rent out their gymnasium. So whoever, gets these rallies, it's not for free. The campaign's paying for these venues. So the school district's benefiting from it. But at the same time, I don't want to, I'm just there's a lot of roadblocks. There's a lot of people trying to do things to make life difficult for the Trump campaign. And, whether it's, the air conditioning's not working, the speaker wasn't loud enough. There's things the little things that there's so many forces out there, that are against us. So, and then trying to get a bigger venue, downtown Columbus, I'm sure it's pretty much impossible to find anywhere, even though they have great facilities, convention centers, perfect places that would be great for a Trump rally, but they don't want a Trump rally down, in the bigger cities or places that are run by liberals. And they're going to do everything in their political power not to make it happen. So that's why you see President Trump having these rallies in faraway places. But it doesn't matter because the people drive in far and wide. They'll drive 2 hours. They'll stand out in the heat. So it really doesn't matter where we have where President Trump has the rallies. It's just that he hasn't. He knows this. So just keep, wherever you can find a place, a venue that's open, available to have a rally, and just get it done. And that's what President Trump does. He's a businessman. He gets the job done.
Yeah, Liz and I were talking to a Secret Service or an EMS agent outside of the arena, just outside of the gym, right before Trump started speaking. We kind of just talked to him about logistics. Like, he referenced some complaints and some frustrations that they had setting this up. They found out about the venue changed 2 days ago, and it came with a whole new set of complications. You're attempting to squeeze a crowd as large as possible into a small high school gym that was really tight to where they gave the press a really small corner of the bleachers, and then as time went on they kept shrinking that down, and eventually it was pretty much like we were sitting with the rest of them, and it was just really crammed throughout the entire time. It was super hot. It was just a very interesting dynamic that they had set up. Obviously not ideal for anybody, but it is what it is, and you kind of just gotta learn from whatever decisions you make, and if it's not the best one, that's fine. Just move on, and I think that they'll plan a little bit better in advance.
Well,
And real quick, sorry, I'll let you guys get back to that while we wait. But we're actually going to draw 3 names, just speed it up a little because it is getting late. So we'll do 3 names for a minute. Real quick, if you
I'm
can get
sorry,
that,
yeah.
Yeah, I
ready,
think
Tom.
we went over.
Yeah.
Probably by.
So first, Webster Cal, who is one of our great moderators, usually in the chat room, and Robin Ann, and Joseph Ricapito. So Robin Ann, Joseph Ricapito, and Webster Cal. If any of you are in the chat room right now, please let us know. And if you could hit that timer,
Yes.
Tom.
So somebody reach out to Webster Cal. I mean, he's always in the chat, usually during the day, but he's there at any time. So somebody can reach out to him and let him know that he's a winner. 30 seconds.
Webster Cal, Joseph Ricapito, and Robin Ann. Ann with an E, one word.
Alright, so... Oh. Sorry, I thought the winner was there. My bad, I read it wrong.
No problem. Should we let someone vouch for Webster? Because he's a moderator?
Yeah, JC says he'll vouch for Webster. So JC,
Okay.
Just because we only make special exceptions to moderators. Because they do basically work full-time for us.
thanks JC.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, JC, if you'll just reach out to him somehow, make sure he sends us his email address. Or anybody that knows his phone number, please have him email us at feedback@rsbn.tv. So we're going to do, let's say 4 more this time.
Yep.
And you'll have 1
Sounds
minute. Are you ready to
good.
reset your clock, Tom?
Yes.
Make sure.
I'm ready.
Make sure no one else claimed it.
And while they're setting up that timer, Richard, thank you for another $5 donated earlier. Thank you, RSBN crew, for enduring the hot cramp gym to cover the president. You're doing God's work. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Definitely not fun or as comfortable as Tampa. A few of us had to kind of walk out and take a breather in the AC and get some water real quick. It was definitely a lot of fun. One of us was unable to do that as much as probably would have liked, but you know, we appreciate the recognition on that. And Lawrence Miller, $50. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lawrence.
Thank you. That's
Just
amazing.
says, great job, folks. Thank you. We really appreciate it. We do what we can under our
Okay, we
circumstances.
were black
Oh,
screen, but we're
time's
back.
up for Webster.
So thank you again, Lawrence, and I just entered you twice into
Perfect.
the pot. And
All right, we're gonna name 4 names.
4 this time. Let me see here, getting it ready. Okay. Richard Simpkins,
Do it again. Do it again.
Mrs. JBCM Patrick,
This is fun to watch. Fascinating.
Linda.
How did you know that?
Linda.
Oh, it said that. I couldn't read
Yeah.
it.
And let's see.
I've never used this app before, but it's really quite fascinating.
It is James Allen. So
Is that Linda with a Y?
it is Linda with a Y.
Yeah,
yes.
Linda.
I think she was in the chat room earlier, right? Linda and
Did you-
James Allen.
Yeah. So
Wait,
Linda,
your
you're a
phone.
winner.
Chat room.
If you know
earlier.
Linda, message her. Let her know. It's interesting.
I don't think no one heard the names. Linda just said she couldn't hear the names.
Well, Linda's about to be surprised in a couple seconds.
Comment and tell her that she won.
Comment all the names.
What was the other one?
James Allen.
And there was one more. And a third one, do we remember? Oh, Mr. JBCM?
Yeah,
Something like
Mrs.
that.
JBCM. Oh, Linda says she's here.
Yes,
Awesome.
we have
Linda,
one.
Right.
Please send your address to feedback@rsbn.tv and we will get that prize pack for you.
So James Allen just said he was here too, so that's
Awesome. That's 3.
it. And our cameraman did not pass out. He's working hard. Probably has the hardest job of all of us, especially since it's like kind of super boring sometimes.
Kind of super boring sometimes.
Awesome. So
Are
it
you
looks
sweating
like
or
we
crying?
have
You look so tired.
Oh yeah, he's been standing all day in the heat.
so Webster Cal, Linda, and James Allen. Congratulations. So excited that you guys will be getting that fun prize pack.
Only
It
Twitter,
actually
Facebook, and radio.
consists of an America blanket, an RSBN tote, and America socks
Right.
stickers.
Perfect.
So
So Linda
Great.
and James Allen and somebody get in touch with Rebster SoCal, and please just make sure that everyone sends their addresses to feedback@rsbn.tv so we can get those out as soon as possible. We want to say thank you to everybody who made this such a fun rally today and participated in our contest. We love you guys, and thanks for just supporting RSBN through the ups and downs.
yes, thank you so much. It's been so much fun, and I will see you guys back Monday for my nightly news recap.
Excited
Thanks,
to watch
Alyssa.
it, Lizzie.
Oh, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Any last words?
No, I just can't wait for the next one.
The boys are quiet now. Something's wrong.
Well,
Yeah.
hey, we had to carry the first half. You guys could carry the last half.
Good night.
Wow.
On that note, good night.
But I'm just excited for the next one. And it's, just gotta keep moving on. This was a tough day.
Oh, I wanted to ask everyone, how many more rallies? Okay, today is August 4th, going on August 5th. Is that correct? All right, it's August, let's say August 5th. How many more rallies do you think we're going to have between now and Election Day in November?
Here's the right answer to this.
68.
68.
So the next 3 months. So Liz says 68. Alyssa,
60.
60.
Joe keeps saying the number to us in at least conversations. The campaign has said roughly 30 to 40.
That was given to me in confidentiality.
And he's typed in the chat before.
I
That
know,
is
it's
an
not
answer.
that- it wasn't
so,
confidential.
Fine, if you want a specific number, I'll go 40. I'll go on the high end.
All right, cool.
40?
And we just received a $2 donation from Martin Gonzalez.
Thank you, Martin
Martin,
Gonzalez.
really appreciate you.
Good night to everyone. Who else is going to bed? The Millers are going to bed. Good night, Millers. Thank you for all your support.
Dan the Plumber hit it right on the head. 3 million rallies between now and November. That's spot on right
I feel
there.
myself dying at the thought of that.
That sounds like a lot. She doesn't have the dragon energy for that one.
No.
Tom and I do, she doesn't.
That's why y'all slept in.
We did.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Dragons don't sleep.
If there's three rallies a week between now and Election Day, that's 36 rallies. So, I don't know. Are we going to have any more than 40? I don't know.
I think we could. I think New York Times
Yeah.
article, 6 to 7 a week.
So I'm going to go with 50. So 40, 50. Alyssa says 60, and Liz just almost 70. So we'll see.
Good night, Daniel Davis. We
I'm
see
used to it,
that.
Right, so it'll probably be
Thank you,
40.
Dink. Good night, Kevin. Good night, a non-person. Thank you. We are Source 777.
You reminded me of the book Good Night Moon.
Good
where
night,
they,
Moon.
like,
Good
take
night,
it-
stars.
Good night to everything. Yeah. Well, anyways, good night, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in and
Yes,
for
thank
joining
you.
us for a crazy week of 3 rallies all over
That's for
the
sure.
East Coast.
It was a lot of fun. That's
Stay
crazy.
tuned for more.
Just to warm up for what's to come.
Good night, guys.
Right.
Good
Bye,
night.
guys. Thank you.
James, go get some rest. You look
White Castle time.
Is love. 'Cause I never get enough of love. Never get enough, no.